Hey y'all, Monk Joseph with the Broken Buddha. Today we're going to talk about the Nirvana Samsara paradox. This is something out of the Enlightenment or Buddhism field. Um, so I'll just explain it really quick, and then I'll just get right into it. So Samsara is Buddhism's explanation for being in an existence where you constantly strive for some sense of like completion or happiness, and even if you do have it, it goes away very very quickly if you are ever able to like fully grab it, and you just pretty much spend your entire life like that, and then somewhere hopefully before you die you realize that those things you were reaching for and worried about maybe shouldn't have been so worried about. And then so Nirvana is a common misconception. And also, let me get really quick on Samsara. Specifically, that feeling of not quite having the thing that you've caught, or the feeling that comes back after the thing you've caught gets old, or you find something new. It's called dukkha in Buddhism. It's called dukkha. All uncomfortable feeling is dukkha. You need that feeling to burn off negative karma. How you react to that feeling is how you depict your karma moving forward. All right, so there's that, and like it's really easy. It actually kind of simplifies things if you're into modern Western psychology. That if you can identify, I mean, because having a desire, if you have this discomfort that you need to grab this thing before you have it, is also a dukkha. So, you believing one is good and one is bad is in your mind. The feeling is the same though. All right. So now let's go to nirvana. A lot of people think that like nirvana is supposed to be some like mindfulness bliss state that you can achieve with thought. um, Buddhist and Tibetan Buddhist and almost all Enlightenment scripture is very, 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 very against that train of thought, because the perfection of nirvana slash samsara is that it's the perfect place for beings to learn and to grow. And I mean like perfect, absolutely perfect. I say it because I've experienced it. So yeah, and the best way to explain this, if you look up the idea of logos, is one of the better explanations of God that I like, because the idea of logos is like, a sentient simulation that reflects our own. It's so hard to explain karmic traces. That reflects our own self-indoctrinated thought through action, um, but it has a sense of compassion. Like it's a very interesting idea to wrap your mind around. But if you can understand the idea of logos, a non-gendered teaching God, then the Nirvana Samsara complex makes a lot more sense. And it's actually interesting because this idea goes, all the way back to Hinduism, where Shiva's mad at Brahma for what he created and what people are going through. Then he created moksha, to help us. Yeah, it's a few different. It's like this. But then actually, this makes more sense though if you want to take it to like a Judeo-Christian stance. This makes more sense now why God was like bow because you don't understand to the angels. Anyway, not the point. I like to talk about religious controversy and these things in the storylines. Anyway, not the point. So that's what it is, right? And the separation of samsara and nirvana is in your mind. The only reason you're not experiencing nirvana is because you're still working through your dukkha and you're still in samsara. And if you ever get rid of all your dukkha and you're in nirvana all the time, that doesn't mean everything's going to be perfect and peaceful. It just means that you are going to know at all times that you are in a learning simulation. And you will see the perfection of the learning simulation. It's really hard because you got to see other people go through atrocious things and say and do atrocious things. So sometimes it really breaks down your perception of this. So obviously, I'm not fully enlightened. But that's what it is. Samsara is that you're going to spend your whole life, and if you do, it's going away. And when you realize that all of that was to try to teach you something, and when you learn it, you'll be able to be like, okay, I get it. Um, and even more specifically, in the Lotus Sutra, they talk about how Nirvana is, they call it a magical cloud city. It's just a break in your enlightenment. So if you ever do hit those nirvanic points that are super peaceful, where you are seeing the logos, then just make sure that you're oh, hold on, I think I lost it. um yeah, when you see it as the logos, just make sure you enjoy those times because they are going to pass. All right. But the good news is, in at least my text, the Dzogchen self-realized stuff, They do say that eventually it will kind of, and I can verify it is starting to fade, but eventually it will completely go away. Your dukkha will go away. You'll be able to see the logos all the time for what it is. It may not be pretty, but it will be beautiful to you. You know, it's literally like a lot of times I kind of just have to feel like I'm in university. Whew, that was a doozy. I thought I was gonna lose that train of thought altogether. All right, so there you have it. And that's the paradox, right? That's what makes it a paradox, something that doesn't make sense. Um, yeah. So there you have it. We are in samsara, but it is nirvana if you're able to learn enough and experience enough mud with a good heart that your lotus can bloom. Get above the water and look and be like, okay, this is the perfect lesson plan. It's atrocious what myself and others had to go through, but it is perfect. All right, and that's what I see a lot of times. I mean, I still have my trials and tribulations as you see in my videos here and there, but for the most part, I do see the perfection of the logos. Um, Personally, right now I'm using the word Allah, but that's neither here nor there. I need to keep changing until I get to a fully non-conceptual point of understanding something that can't be understood. But that'll be in the next video. Actually, we're gonna get into some of that. So that's all I have for the Samsara Nirvana paradox. Any questions? Please leave them in the comments section. I know some people are gonna be funny about the mindfulness Nirvana statement, but look into some Buddhist and Tibetan Buddhist texts. They're like they they straight up shame that kind of behavior. So that's not what it is. The texts are very clear. What I told you right now is definitive samsara nirvana and the definitive samsara nirvana paradox. All right, so do your own research, and if you feel a certain way, ask me. I'll point you in the direction of a book if you need to see one. It's probably gonna be a Dzogchen text, but it'll get the point across. If you tell me what modality or sect or religion you are, I can try to find something of your sect or religion. I am very familiar with all the scriptures from all the religions. So thank you for your time. Peace and blessings. I hope you enjoyed this.